What's going on, everybody? It's Geoff Grammer with the Albuquerque Journals, joined by Sean Reider, also of the Albuquerque Journal. This is Journal Sports, ABQ Journal Sports Live, I think is what we're calling it, or maybe just Journal Sports Live, year 2 of doing this on a somewhat regular basis, kind of starting now. And we still don't really have a set name. We're going to call it ABQ Journal Sports Live. Sean is in Las Vegas at the Mountain West Football Media Days. I am stuck like a bum in my house and our little extra bedroom back here and stuck in the corner here. So
I don't think bums have a house or an extra bedroom even at that.
Well,
so I don't know if bum is the right.
But okay, so bum may not be the right word, but
bum might not be it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, point is, I am not in Vegas enjoying the big life like Sean is right now. So
I gotta show everybody this. So we're staying at the Palms Resort and Casino, and I am literally in the Ivory Tower. They have the Fantasy Tower, which I'm looking at right now across the street, and the Ivory Tower. And then I have these eyes over my bed. So I don't know. That's what you get in the Ivory Tower at Palms Resort and Casino.
Is it Ivory, Ivory, or
yeah, Ivory, like what is it, like
it's not like
EY or whatever?
But it's not EYEVOR.
No, it's not real eyes. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying those look like ivory. Anyway, I'm trying hard here.
It's been a while. It's been a minute since we've done a full show.
So we did do one a couple weeks ago at an Isotopes game, but obviously not really a highly publicized or certainly not one of our regular shows.
No, yeah,
I will say
too going off the rails on that one.
We will go off the rails as usual on this one as well.
Yes.
I will say that show brought to us or I was going to say that show, while unpublicized, I don't know why I was bringing up that show. What I was going to say, let me strike that, reverse it. Why we started a couple minutes late today when I did say we'd start at 2, it was not for a change. It was not anything that I did, and it was nothing technology on my end. It was Sean not knowing how to get hotel Wi-Fi to work there in Vegas.
Yeah. Well, the problem is that, you have the hotel Wi-Fi, and then in the Fantasy Tower, not the Ivory Tower, that is where they are holding the Mountain West Media Day festivities, which is why I am in Las Vegas, Nevada. Richie, good to hear from you, man. Missed you, dude.
Is that's all we get?
What do you want him to do?
You usually scream, Richie.
Well, we got some guests in the hotel. I don't want to disturb the peace too much.
Richie, I apologize right now for Sean's lack of enthusiasm.
Richie, I am thrilled to hear. I'm thrilled to see Richie back. I'm thrilled to be back. We haven't done one of these in a minute. Let's go, Jerry.
I will tell you guys, this is the start of a fairly regularly, and come August will be regular weekly show. Probably, we're already we're on the back half. What is it today, the 15th? I guess we're in the midway point of July. We'll probably be doing this weekly now moving forward. And the individual podcasts too, the Sean Writer's Block and the Geoff Grammer Talking Grammar should be starting up here in the next couple weeks as well. But this show is probably going to be, if not weekly starting with this, it will be weekly in the next couple weeks, certainly in August, and that's only a couple weeks away. So I think we're pretty much we're back at it. This isn't exactly a huge welcome back show, but this is, I suppose, somewhat of our welcome back show. And we're going to start with this. First of all, I see our guy, BJ Rains.
Oh my God.
Who is missing Mountain West Media Days. That brings us to a good segue.
Yes.
BJ Rains, obviously from Boise, Bronco Nation News, does great work with Bronco Nation News. Some of you Mountain West fans may not even know that. Boise State, little known fact, Boise State used to be in the Mountain West. I don't know if people know that or not. This conference used to have several other teams as recently as 16 days ago. So BJ, obviously covering Bronco Nation News or covering Boise State, is not at Mountain West Football Media Days this week, but you are, Sean. So why don't you tell us, first of all, I guess Boise State, by way of them, maybe this deserves a Boise State asterisk, but Boise State is not the preseason pick to win the Mountain West this year for a couple of reasons. A lot of odds makers actually have the UNM Lobos. But why don't you tell us why Boise State's streak of the Mountain West preseason media poll being picked to win this thing for, I think, 15 years in a row.
15 straight years. Yeah,
15
pretty much
straight
every
years.
single year they were in the league.
Why that was broken today,
Yeah.
and who, if anybody, was picked to win the league, but in the league poll today.
So the league decided to axe, and they're not the first to do it. They decided to axe their preseason predicted order of finish. So basically, the preseason poll in more simple language. The Big 12 got rid of it last year, and the Big 12's big thing was that, because they had the year before Arizona State going from, like being picked last in the league to, going all the way to the playoff and all that. And they felt, the coaches and administrators and all that, they all felt that, instances like that, where you could have a team go from, worst to first with the portal and stuff like that, where it's easier to kind of climb, that when you're starting from behind in the preseason poll, it hurts the narrative and all that. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that thinking for like a P4 conference, like the Big 12, the ACC, the SEC, or the Big 10. Indiana, I mean, that I don't think it really hurt them the last 2 years. Well, the first Signetti year or whatever. But it does. I mean, it will have some effects on, G6 teams, like in the Mountain West or the American or the Pac-12 and stuff like that. So the Mountain West decided to axe it. When they announced it, they said conference realignment was the reason. I asked a couple more questions about that, and they said, yeah, I mean, the response I got was, it's conference realignment, makes the league a little bit more unpredictable. You got North Dakota State coming in and NIU and UTEP and all that. And I think really the big question is how North Dakota State will be this year. UTEP and Northern Illinois, I mean, maybe they could surprise. I don't think anybody has really high hopes for them, except for maybe people that are NIU fans or UTEP fans and all that. And then they also mentioned, the unpredictability of teams on a year-to-year basis when you do have the portal, and fortunes can swing pretty quickly. Ed Graney with the Las Vegas Review-Journal, he asked Gloria Nevarez a question about why they decided to get rid of it. And Gloria essentially in her opening address today kind of reiterated all those points. I don't necessarily disagree with cutting the poll. I do think I do think it's a little over. I think it's a little over repeated. Fans kind of saying, "Oh, preseason polls are just so pointless." I think they're a way to build discussion heading into the season, and I think
I've never heard the argument that preseason polls are worthless and not worth discussing from anybody who wasn't responding and discussing a preseason poll.
Exactly, and I do think it's interesting. I mean, like, they're that pointless, but coaches are. Coaches want to kind of cut them out enough because they feel that they're not shaping the narrative. That I don't know. They can't be that pointless at that point, to the point where administrators and coaches feel that they want to eliminate it. We can talk some Lobo basketball today, but I will say, everybody though has done their own preseason poll article and all that. I put mine out today. I did pick New Mexico to win the Mountain West. I picked them to do it. I am. I guess I am. Even though in previous years I've probably been too low on them, I did pick them to do it, and that was
such a hater.
That was the crane. I don't get the crane. What's the crane?
I don't know, because these, again, when we have the timestamp out of order, that doesn't show up in the same place, so I don't know what that was in response to.
Okay. I did pick New Mexico, and I think it is, for me, in the end, it was really tight between UNLV and New Mexico. I just like New Mexico's continuity on both sides of the ball a bit more. I do think they got to figure out how they are going to have a pass rush as productive as it was last year, leading the Mountain West in sacks, I think, with 36. Of course, you got to replace Keyshawn James Newby and Brett Carhu. Troy O'Meara was a guy that, coming in from UNLV, he was selected to the All Mountain West team, one of 5 selections for UNM, the most since 2005. But I haven't seen him play yet, but I do think he's a guy that could be an answer for them, at receiver, particularly kind of as an X receiver at that position, a guy that could threaten other teams in man coverage. But I do have some questions about the receivers and, how complete of a group it can be, how healthy they can be, because it's been a problem. At least, dating back to last fall camp and all that as well. But, yes, I did pick them. UNLV was right behind them. Hawaii was right behind UNLV. And then I had Air Force and North Dakota State, and that was my top 5. I do think North Dakota State will be able to contend. I think they're going to be good. I'll be writing a little bit more about them in the coming weeks off the stuff that I'm getting today from Bison players and coaches and all that. But I do think the fact that they play at UNLV, at New Mexico, at Hawaii, it's just tough. They do that in the span of 5 weeks. You're paying at the top 3 teams in the league. It's a tough deal.
I got a question for you about North Dakota State, and then I'll get on to some of these reader questions.
Yes.
Some of them are basketball related, but North Dakota State, I am curious, of the newcomers that are in the league right now, North Dakota State to me is certainly football only, but certainly a big following.
Yeah, huge following.
All the schools. I know they were in it last year, so this technically isn't a first year for Grand Canyon, but of all the newcomers to the league, I would tell you Grand Canyon basketball is the feather in the cap edition, while North Dakota State football is the feather in the cap edition for football. So I'm curious, how much media is there at media days? How much excitement or buzz or questions are they getting? Or are they sort of being treated in any way as either a low-level FBS team or just an FBS team that nobody wants to really touch too much? Or is there buzz?
I think there are questions among beat writers and stuff like that. I've made conversation with a couple of them talking about do you think North Dakota State's gonna contend for a league title? Do you think they're gonna be a step below?
And first off, I'll be honest with my opinion on it. Right? There should be buzz, and they should get some respect. I think they are well.
For once, are you trying to win a fan base over? Are you?
I am.
First time ever. Are you trying to butter up a fan base?
Look,
get them on the Grammer bandwagon.
The Bison.
First time ever.
I am pro Bison. I just think they should get buzz. I think they are the Mountain West is a good spot for them to contend right away, without it just being a sort of a stepping stone that's going to be considered a continual stepping stone onto a next conference. I don't think the Mountain West is bottom rung by any stretch. I don't know that it's going to be I don't know how close the gap is to the Power 4 right now in football, the power conferences. But I do think that the Mountain West is a league that I think they can contend in right away. Maybe not win. I'm not predicting them to win the Mountain West this year, but I do think they will be among the top 4 from day one.
Yeah, and to get back to your question, I agree with you there. That's my poll reflects that. The poll that isn't really a poll. There's been a lot of buzz. First off, they brought a lot of media. I mean, I went on a North Dakota State radio show today, so I mean they're very well represented in that aspect. But I mean, I asked questions to New Mexico and UTEP players today about North Dakota State. Brent Brigham was kind of making, who covers Air Force, does a great job there. He was making the rounds, asking questions about North Dakota State. So I would say more than any other new addition, it's not even close. I mean, they absolutely have the most buzz, and yeah, like I mentioned, they are well represented. There was that question before. I don't know if you want to get into that now about Donovan Dent, or if you want to say.
Yeah, since we're doing North Dakota State, I went out of order here, and I'm on Tommy Tom's question here, which is essentially what we're talking about. If North Dakota State comes in and wins the league in year one, would that be an indictment on the rest of the league, not being able to win it? Yeah, I don't think so, because I have enough respect for North Dakota State, but I get that will be the perception of some, and some. I'm not just saying non-knowledgeable college football fans. I will tell you that some very knowledgeable ball followers of college football, ball followers, probably wouldn't look highly on a league that has a first-year FCS transition team win their league. I just think that North Dakota State's their national title winners repeatedly at the level they were at. They were ready to make the move up. They have a backing and a support system that I do think they're going to be pretty good right off the bat. Again, I don't think they're going to win the Mountain West off the bat, but to the question's point, if they do, how bad does that look for the Mountain West?
I don't know if it looks that bad. If anything, I think it, I'm not trying to stick up for the Mountain West, here or anything, but I do think it could look not great, but at the end of the day, I think they would be thrilled that they added a team that immediately came out and won the league and kind of took care of business in that sense. I think it would be less of an indictment than if Sac State won the MAC. I think that would be like more of an indictment on the competitive state of the MAC. We know that North Dakota State has been pretty darn good, and not pretty darn. They've been amazing at the FCS level for so long, and they've been
knocked off competed with and knocked off plenty of FBS programs through the years.
Exactly. We know that they have been functioning as an FBS program in the FCS for quite some time. Sac State and the MAC, on the other hand, that to me would be way more of an indictment on the MAC than NDSU winning the Mountain West. But at the same time, though, I mean, that is something that that is a scenario that I think really is a part of why they killed the preseason poll. The idea that you could just add somebody and, North Dakota State, I don't think even if they had the poll was going to be picked to win it. I think they would have been picked, in the upper half pretty firmly. But I think when it comes down to, college ball playoff berths and stuff like that, I think the league wanted to avoid the situation where they have the perception of North Dakota State being a first-year program coming into the FBS, and that could end up, biting them in the butt when it comes to a college football playoff berth if they end up winning the league.
I will say, too, your Sac State comment about the MAC, you're a Midwest guy, and you know your MAC, and there's nothing that screams MAC like Sac State.
It's sad to me. I mean, it really nothing against Sac State, but like the MAC was kind of the last bastion of like a true regional drivable conference, and it's just unfortunate. But I get why they did it. But
conference realignment.
What's up?
Should we get into a discussion about conference realignment and the way things were?
If we have enough time, let's do that after the Donovan Nut questions. Let's get into that. But Tommy, it's a good question. It's a good thought, and it's genuine. I mean, it is absolutely something that league administrators and leaders were thinking about.
To update the crane comment, it was the construction.
I get it now.
That's what I figured it might be, but thank you for the update. All right. There are some basketball questions. Let's get to some of those. Quick comment. Richie does have a comment. We'll put a temporary bow. We will get back to some more football stuff because some Lobos were preseason honorees and stuff like that. We'll get to that in just a second. Richie is pointing out that the new Mountain West trophy, he wishes it had some mountains on it. I
am not have you seen the new trophy?
I did. They blasted it out on social today.
Yeah, I am not I think I prefer the old trophy. The new trophy looks a little too plastic to me, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
But I don't know.
It looks plastic?
It looks a little too plastic, if you get it. It gives off that. I don't know. I don't like it. By the way, England up 1-0.
1-0. The clean sheet is gone. All right. We're going to start with Jerry's comment here, basketball talk. Let's get this one out of the way. Is Donovan Dent a potential recruit for Olin and crew, or are we tapped out from a money standpoint? Lots of rumors going around. There are lots of rumors. I have talked with, I will say Dent's camp. I have talked with Donovan prior to the 5-5 rule becoming a reality. Donovan has not returned a call or a text since 5-5 became a reality, which happened to be the day of the last open practice. But I've talked to the people who certainly know where Donnie stands on all this. Look, Donovan moved back to Albuquerque to be with his girlfriend, I believe now fiance. And he wanted to spend time with her. He had no intention of going overseas and playing professional basketball. He has a place here now. He still has that place and will wherever he plays next year. So he loved Albuquerque. He would have certainly considered from the start playing here because he wants to be here with her and all that good stuff. UNM basketball overshot its NIL budget already. When Jay Call decided to come back and they had already started making contingencies as though he was not, they let's just say they overspent by a significant amount what they thought they were going to spend on basketball already. To think that they can come up with another $2 million now in July, could they? Maybe. Is it going to happen? No. I really think I won't put it at a 0% chance. But I'll put it at a 1 just to keep it at a whole number. A 1% chance that Donovan Dent plays for UNM next year. It isn't so much that Olin isn't recruiting him or he doesn't want to be a Lobo. I think it's a mutual understanding that the money is not there, so neither one really went down that path. I know there's a lot of people out there because they've talked to me about it, sort of criticizing Eric Olin. I think there's somebody who was saying it earlier today on X, who has already commented on this thread, that Eric's just not even recruiting him or even trying to get him. all I can say there is I guess it depends on how you want to define the reality of UNM's resources. I think there is some truth to there's not a hard recruitment of Donovan Dent to play at UNM, but I think that's with the understanding on Donovan's side too that the money is not there to really make it worthwhile. If he's going to play another year of college basketball, and he's already kind of said he probably won't play pro, although with Donovan things can change as they have from month to month. If he wasn't going to go play pro, if he wanted to come back and kind of put off this coaching thing for a year, then he wanted to go make some money. And I can tell you with Gonzaga losing their starting point guard last week to a 4-year, $15 million deal to Spain, Gonzaga at a minimum is going to raise the amount of money that Donovan's about to get. I don't think it's a done deal that he's going to Gonzaga either, by the way. I think Gonzaga will very much be in the fold. I think there's a possibility, I'll just throw this out there now, that he could be reunited with a former Lobo in West Texas, and JT Toppin and Donovan playing at Texas Tech with some deep pockets. I think that is a very real possibility. And we will see. His lawsuit will be filed in Texas, I think. It has not been filed yet, but when that gets filed in Texas, that could be sort of a bit of a clue as to where he is already leaning. And I do think it'll be in Texas. I don't think he's locked into playing in Texas if he gets an injunction in Texas, by the way. I do think that there's some confusion out there, with myself included. I don't think the injunction that the players in Ohio, who happen to all be Ohio players, got, I don't think that this is going to ultimately be you have to do it in whatever state you're playing in. I think ultimately the NCAA will make a decision. Either this injunction kind of applies everywhere until we can get it fixed, or maybe the NCAA does say, if you want to play somewhere, you have to file a new lawsuit in every single state that a player wants to play. I just don't see the NCAA doing that. What the NCAA is going to do, though, is appeal. And they're fighting every case that does come up. I don't know how much appetite the NCAA has for every player that wants to do this having to file their own separate lawsuit in a state-by-state thing. So I kind of am, and what I'm saying is I think the NCAA, while not admitting or accepting defeat, might at some point say, okay, until we get this case in Ohio or in Texas or whatever case it is, until we get that resolved, we're going to let everybody play. But understand, the second that case and that appeal gets heard, if we win out, those players are immediately ineligible. And if that's in the middle of your season, sorry, you're taking that risk, teams. And that is what the NCAA's intention is to win this appeal and not let players from the class of 2022 get this year. My opinion now on all that is it's ridiculous not to just go ahead and blanket waiver everything. If moving forward from this point forward, everybody gets 5 years, and as of 2 years ago, there was about a 6-year window, frankly, of players that got an extra COVID year. And we're talking right now that a rule change only applies to the class of 2021 high school recruiting class that's already passed now. They graduated last year, or I guess 2 seasons ago now. And now we're talking about Donovan Dent's class of 2022. We're talking about those 2 years that you're not going to give the 5th year to. Just give them the 5th year. And everybody from this point forward gets it anyway. I think this is a silly fight for the NCAA. I get why they're fighting everything now. And what the hope of the NCAA and a lot of schools is that the Save College, Protect College Sports Act gets passed, and then the antitrust stuff sort of goes back in the NCAA's favor, where they can't just keep getting sued for antitrust violations, which this ultimately is. So, to answer your question, Jerry, Donovan Dent getting recruited, is he a potential recruit for Olin and crew? Yeah, yes and no. Mainly no. I just don't see it as being realistic. That doesn't mean that Eric Olin doesn't think Donovan Dent can play for the Lobos. I have talked to people. I've talked to Eric Olin. I just don't think in this case, and look, people know that I have my qualms with stuff in the past with Lobo basketball. I'm not defending Eric in this regard. I just don't think he's getting a fair shake when it comes to the instant sentiment that Eric doesn't want Donovan Dent. I know he has Uriah Tenet. I know he has Jay Call. I don't think it's I promise you, I think Eric Olin is a basketball savvy enough guy that if he had a chance to get a potential All-American, at least going into last year, people thought he was when he went to UCLA. I just don't think that Eric Olin would be so thick-headed and stuck in his ways that he wouldn't take on a fantastic passing point guard who isn't a great shooter. And Eric Olin doesn't want shooters. So I get it isn't the ideal fit, but he wouldn't say no to Donovan Dent if he really had a realistic chance at him. So there you go. There's my long-winded answer to your question. And there's more basketball. But Sean, do you have any thoughts on the 5-5 and sort of the Donovan Dent stuff? You're in football land right now, I know, and you haven't really been paying attention to all this, but
nothing on Donovan Dent. I will say Jackson Eck, who, under the 5-for-5 rules, he will get a 5th year of eligibility if he does want it.
So this season, 2026, this fall, is his fourth year. He will now be eligible.
He will now be eligible
without an appeal. He won't have to be injured or anything. He gets 2027 if he wants it.
Exactly. And we had we did have a conversation today about the idea that, hey, like all of a sudden you have this extra year available if you want it. But I did ask, how much are you? I mean, I haven't seen him on any of the, the super early big boards or anything like that. But Jackson Eck is a guy that theoretically, should get some NFL interest and all that as well. And how much he has kind of weighed both those possibilities. And what he basically said was, in a more polite manner, I don't really know yet. I mean, it was a little bit of, hey, I just kind of want to get through this season and see where things are. I'm just focused on having the best season that I can. Of course, he is the Mountain West preseason defensive player of the year. And, like a lot of the guys that we talked to, a lot of people on UNM earned preseason honors. A lot of people that were at media days today, particularly Jackson Eck and Malik Elaine and Brian Booker. And they all said, it's nice, but we haven't played any games yet, right? It's good to be recognized, but we want to, what really matters to us is the stuff that happens at the end of the year and the win total. So Eck, to me, that is a really interesting one where I think he could be very well compensated for a 5th year of college football. And I do think it could be interesting too.
I think he could have been compensated pretty well for a 4th year somewhere else too. And
exactly.
I don't know what the hometown discount ended up being, the play for dad discount that ended up being. He's still getting compensated. He's not playing for free, but he could have been making more money for the Jackson Eck fund somewhere else.
Yeah, no doubt. And, definitely look, I mean, and he is a guy that I've written about, it does mean a lot to him to play for his dad and to be around his family and to, like it feels like he is getting some time back from, when his dad was on the road recruiting and all that as well, or like out busy coaching and stuff like that, get some time back by playing for him. But, and I don't want to be this guy either, there's a chance that Jackson Eck could spend that 5th year somewhere else in college because his dad is somewhere else in college, right? That is absolutely a possibility. I don't want to bang that, when there's, bang that drum when there's a whole lot of good feelings about the Lobos heading into the season.
Yeah, you just put on your Homer hat. You put on your Homer hat earlier today.
I ripped it off.
Don't start hating already.
I will say one more former Lobo that is also he would get another year under the 5-for-5 deal. Devin Dampier. I think, and he has said publicly, I think that he would want to test the NFL waters. That's kind of his plan. But I think Devin Dampier is a guy that still, would make a lot of money, with a 5th year of college football. But Richie, I know I hate to do it, but it's something you got to know in that situation.
Let's talk about all conference real quick, and then I'll go back to a quarterback question because why wouldn't we already be talking quarterbacks?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, why don't you start off by telling us which Lobos made all conference? Who got the player awards for Lobo football at Mountain West Media Day?
Yes,
today in Las Vegas.
I'll segue into this question too. Jackson Eck was the Mountain West preseason defensive player of the year. Not a big shock there. I thought it was a 2-horse race between him and Nevada's Dylan LaBarbera, and I thought Eck was going to win it. He won it. So he is a preseason All Mountain West honoree. Brian Booker, defensive lineman, interior D-line. He is a preseason All Mountain West selection as well. Tight end Cade Keith.
They just heard back from the loan I applied for. Apparently I got it.
Grammer, that is such great news, man.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Happy for you guys.
Yeah.
Tight end Cade Keith. Why am I not thinking all of them? Offensive lineman Malik Elaine and oh my gosh, who is the fifth? Oh, and then wide receiver Troy O'Meara. I am not thinking of immediately because I haven't seen him play yet. To segue into this question, how is Caden Robnett not a first-team All-Mountain West Conference selection? That was UNM starting center last season, and he will be their starting center this year. Hopefully he has a huge chip on his shoulder. I thought it was a little confusing. I don't know. I mean, and I thought he was going to be on the team just by going off of like different, like Lindy's Magazine and Phil Steele and all that stuff. I thought he was going to be on it. Malik Elaine was on that team, and I think it was probably between both those guys for a spot on the offensive line of the All Mountain West preseason team. But yeah, I thought that was a little puzzling. I think Robnett to me is if he's not the best center in the league, he definitely is a top 2 center in the league. And I noted on Twitter today, I said how it was a little surprising that he wasn't, and Robnett retweeted my tweet and then tweeted something along the lines of people just keep doubting me, but I'll keep getting after it. So
I will say sometimes if there's one position in all of sports that I think sometimes falls into a weird gray area on honors is
the offensive line.
It's center really, because I think people know about guards and certainly tackles a little bit more than they know what a center's doing.
Tackles more than guards, at least in my experience.
Yes.
At least in seeing, like, I mean, there are years where it's 4 tackles and 1 interior guy.
Yeah, the hierarchy in awareness goes tackle, tackle, guard, and then center. So if you pick your offensive line, your preseason or postseason offensive line based on position, then the centers get the love they should get. If you don't, and you just sort of go with the 5 best offensive linemen, you're probably going to have 3 out of 5 tackles.
Yeah.
So there you go. Got another football question for you. Any chance that you want to talk quarterbacks already in July?
Let's talk quarterbacks, because I wanted to talk with Jack Lane about this a little bit today, and to the second part, will Lobstein still have a role? I guarantee you, no matter what, no matter how it shakes out, if he, and Lobstein will compete for the starting role this year. I mean, we'll talk to Eck a little bit more about that tomorrow. The coaches are available tomorrow. The players were available today. And I do have some questions about that. But I guarantee you, he is on the roster, so he will absolutely have a role in some way, shape, or form. But to the first part, any chance Moga beats out Lane? I do think there is. I would still say that I think Lane is absolutely the front runner. There is a reason why he is at media days as kind of the quarterback representative and all that as well. One of 2 offensive representatives for the team. So I think he is still the front runner. But I do think more than anybody else, I think Moga probably has the best chance. And Lane said he was, that his elbow was feeling good today.
Move the chain, Jack Lane. By the way, move the chain, Jack Lane.
He said his elbow is feeling good.
I'm going to make that a thing this season. I don't care. I'm still trying to make it a thing.
Beat a dead horse until and I want to talk to Eck a little bit more about that situation tomorrow. But I think probably more than anybody else, I think Moga has the skill set and the upside to potentially unseat Lane. But Moga needs to be more consistent during fall camp and during the competition than he was during the spring, right? There were days where Moga looked fantastic in the spring, and there were days where he didn't look that good, and it wasn't all that impressive. I think I would still like to see more of his, his. I know he could extend plays from right to left in the backfield and all that, but I think for me, I would like to see him be a little bit more decisive as a passer, just overall. And I'd like to see a little bit more of that straight line speed. He was a really good, runner, really good sprinter in high school. I just don't know if I saw that kind of blazing speed really play out during the spring. If that starts to show and he's more decisive as a passer during fall camp, then I think he will absolutely be in the mix to possibly unseat Lane. But I think at the end of the day, though, look, Lane is coming off, missing the spring with an elbow injury. He played hurt all of last season. They need, and Eck has kind of said it too, that like last year he said was like the first year in a long, long time that he's coached where they played the same quarterback, started the same quarterback every single game. There's a possibility that, maybe somebody gets hurt and Moga still has to be ready, even if he doesn't unseat Lane. But I think Moga does have a chance, though.
I don't know if you saw
really long way of doing that. Jeff even brought up the dinosaur, which was kind of like the cue for me to.
No. I just realized that my 6-year-old has some dinosaur toys right now.
Is that a pipe cleaner dinosaur? Is that just a regular dinosaur?
It's just a plastic kind of weird. She could tell you.
I saw Okay.
She could tell you what this dinosaur sounds like too, and she will. It's not like this is what they think it sounded like, or this is what I think it sounded like. It is what it sounded like, and don't argue with her. Will Lobo football ever schedule a Pac-12 team? Lobo basketball already has a home and home with Utah State, by the way.
I think Lobo football will. I think they will at some point.
I think Jason Eck would. I think Jason Eck would not only schedule them. I think he would do it and talk trash about it the whole time.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I think they will schedule a Pac-12 team at some point. Do I know exactly which one it'll be? No, but I think they will.
I think he already has the speech kind of ready to go. The real ones, kind of an offshoot to the real one speech of, sort of they don't think we're good enough and all that kind of stuff. Like, he kind of already gave some of those speeches last year, right? And he's ready to give them again.
I will say it is. I was not ready for. It's not a weird feeling in media days, but I was not ready for just how different it actually is. And maybe it's because it's in a different venue than it always was before. At least in my time on the beat. We were at Circa, the last 3 years, and now we're at the Palms, so that's a little bit different there. But it is. I mean, like, it is odd seeing, not seeing BJ Raines doing a show in the corner. Not seeing Kurt Kenny with the San Diego Union Tribune, not seeing the Utah State guys and the Colorado State guys too. Like, it is a little weird.
And they're, by the way, not seeing any of them.
They're not seeing any of each other. They're not.
The Pac-12 is not doing media day this year, and we don't need to get into that. I'll just say I'm not a fan of it, but
I will say this, and I know there's a lot of Pac-12 fans that are saying, well, good for them, save some money and all that as well. First off, I'm not sure. I don't know exactly how much media days cost, but like, they're doing like league meetings and stuff like that. Like, I mean, you couldn't allocate some of the budget just to get some people out for the first year that you're like debuting your new conference. And I'll note this too. This Mountain West Pac-12 thing has been such a petty hullabaloo for so freaking long, and it's going to stay that way for a bit. I don't understand, if you're the Pac-12 and you have these, national media coming to Vegas for the Mountain West, why you don't just set up on the same 2 days and make national media members decide to make a decision. Am I going to Pac-12 media days or am I going to Mountain West media days? Because I think some of them would have gone over to the Pac-12 and done all that and given them coverage. And I just, it's been a petty thing for so long. I guess I give them credit for not wanting to keep it up. But if that was, if you want to be petty, like, that's the way to do it, frankly. Just pull off the attention off the Mountain West. So, I don't know.
Any new recruits?
This has been a slow month in terms of recruiting, so no, nothing I'm really focused on right now. I'm more, we're locking into the season is kind of coming up more than anything else.
Jackson Eck could have played anywhere in the country. The CSU linebacker with similar tackles went to reigning national champion, the co-defensive player.
Owen Long, by the way,
was drafted, and the co-defensive player of the year was a first-round draft pick.
Larry, I agree. I mean, yeah, he absolutely, and he had potential suitors, 100%, but decided to stay home or stay in the adopted home, the new home. Already transferred once, so I don't know.
Is there a loan for Donovan? That they would need one again. To reiterate, and I know Larry was on X. Larry was making the same point that Owen's not even trying to recruit him. I don't think that's entirely unfair to say that he isn't, but I do think it comes with the understanding that there wouldn't be a chance anyway. So why even go down that path just to get told no maybe anyway, and then burn bridges with a Uriah Tenet who's your starting point guard, and just sort of make everything kind of uneasy when the chances of it happening, even if there was a little bit of money for it. The chances aren't what I think some people think, because when Donovan made this decision to go ahead and do this, he wanted to make some significant money for one more year. Him and his family talked about it, and they weren't coming back to do it for free. So, Eddie, to your question, we did talk about this a little earlier in the show. Donnie D coming back, just wishful thinking. I do think it's wishful thinking, but I will say this, by the way, especially in college landscape right now, I'll never say never. And he does live in Albuquerque. He does have a place here now. It's not just he gets out a dorm that he just gets out of anytime. Like he and his fiance, they have a house here now. So I don't know if it's a house, but they have a place,
a condo.
Yeah, and she's not leaving. She's still in medical school. So here we go. I like this one because I will tell you that he was a big question for me last year why he didn't play more throughout the year. Like, I think we all kind of had that question. But Scott Humphrey, is he going to be the starting running back? Because
I think he's I don't think in this offense there's ever going to be, and that's with like thinking about how well Damon Bankston played last year, and still he ended up getting carries taken from DJ McKinney and stuff like that. I don't think in this offense, the way they run it, there will ever be one true kind of like workhorse every down back. But Scott Trey to me is the I think he is the number one running back right now. I will say though, look, and they want to spell their running backs. They want to balance carries out amongst, 2 or 3 guys and all that. I think Cameron Matthews is absolutely going to have a role. He's a young guy coming in from Memphis. If you're at the spring game, you saw how well he played. And then I think Kiefer Sibley, North Texas transfer is going to give them something in terms of his ability to catch passes. But I think Scott Trey is pretty comfortably the number one running back. We did this all last year, and like we swore like on like hand on our hearts, like, oh, Scott Trey's going to run for 1,000,000 yards and all that. He's going to be the guy. And really past that UCLA game, it was kind of a pretty disappointing season. But
I'm on Team Scott Trey for a breakout kind of season.
I think he's going to be in a good spot at the end of the year. Do I know if he'll rush for 1,000 yards? Probably not. But that's probably going to be more of a credit to just splitting up the workload amongst different guys.
I'm going to fly through some of these because Sean does need to get going at 3. We're going to try and wrap this up in the next 15.
Will the New York Giants ever move to the Pac-12?
Yes, that is
Jackson Dart playing the? I'm kidding.
Will we, as in Sean and I? No, will we, as in I'm assuming the Lobos?
We're gonna go cover. We're gonna go cover Gonzaga together. I'll be covering Gonzaga trying to get the football program back.
Yeah.
I'll be covering Gonzaga basketball. So we'll move together.
And a lot of the, I'll be heavy on Texas State coverage, by the way. Owen Morrow is asking, will UNM ever be in the Pac-12?
Argentina equalizer.
Yeah, that's right.
The equalizer.
I'm pro Argentina in the World Cup, by the way, and I know that's.
Come on, England. Come on.
All right. So I don't think UNM is going to be in the Pac-12 anytime soon because I just don't see any changes happening before this next media onslaught of alignment. This is all going to happen again, and I think it'll be a fair nothing's ever quiet in realignment. But I do think the next 2 years will be fairly quiet. So I will tell you, what are we, 26 right now? I would say after 2 football seasons, we're going to start. It's going to start picking up again, and there'll be some realignment craziness.
It's not part of the. I don't think it's part of the Protect College Sports Act, which by the way, Gloria Navarez, said during her prepared remarks, we are in favor of it. Not a surprise. Only like the Big Ten and the SEC aren't in favor of it. I don't think it's part of the Protect College Sports Act, but there was that one. I don't remember bill or a piece of legislation that wanted to restrict conference realignment. I'm curious to see what happens there. I don't think that bill is going to go anywhere. I'm trying to remember exactly who put that all together off the top of my head. And this probably sounds really confusing now because I don't have the exact specifics, but that could be something to think about too.
Politicians involved in all this, trying to do a lot of different addendums, amendments, little rules here and there. All right. Favorite dinosaur? That comes from me doing this earlier.
Grammer is my favorite dinosaur.
Yes. I'm the Uncosaurus.
Call your Uber, bro. Call your
the
Uber,
Uncosaurus. Bro. Yeah, I do have daughters, 2 of them now, but mainly the 6-year-old who tells me when she's sick of me trying to make dad jokes, she does tell me, my 6-year-old, call your Uber, bro.
Call your Uber, bro. Bruh. Triceratops is like probably the best pick, though.
Yeah, that's good. I used to be pretty strong on the Stegosaurus, but I'm fine with Triceratops. Larry wants to. Oh no, I was going to say wants to know. No, Larry is pointing out, rightfully so, that Utah State probably.
Larry, you are correct. I do not think they will be scheduling that game. The only reason Bronco went back when he was at Virginia, went back to BYU, is because they locked that contract in before he got there, and he still tried. I remember him talking about last year at media days. He tried so hard to get out of it. So I don't think it's going to happen.
This is a tough one to predict, but the gaming is asking the question. If we have the season we think we're going to have, which is Lobo fans think this will be a conference championship season.
Yeah. Or playing in the conference championship.
Playing in the conference championship game. Does UNM can they keep Eck? I'm still sort of in a UNM has a pretty good chance until Wisconsin makes their move kind of place. But as Eck's stock goes up, he might be lured away by a non-Wisconsin job at some point. And that could come this year if they have another successful year because his stock is pretty high.
Yeah. And I think he's smart enough to pick I don't think he would do nothing against Barry Odom and nothing against Purdue. I don't think he would take that kind of role. I don't think he would just like, I just want to get something in one of the big two leagues and all that. And I think he would be open to an ACC and a Big 12 job, depending on the job. But of course, if Wisconsin does open up, and that's, Eichhorst is a new AD there. I don't know if Eck and Eichhorst have much of a relationship at all. But of course, Wisconsin, you have to view them as a leader in the clubhouse. But if UNM has a season that they're gearing up to have, do they keep Eck? I think there is a chance, but it's really contingent on what jobs are open and what jobs, frankly, move Eck. I don't know that exactly off the top of my head.
Richie is asking about the royalties. I can tell you an update.
Not a myth.
Not a myth. They did get some money. I don't think it's deep into the six figures over the past 2 years. There's been 2 years of it now.
Yeah.
So I think combined it'll be into the six figures, but we're just talking in the hundreds for a 2-year window. I have talked with Ryan Berryman. I will be getting those numbers soon. Sean, I'll probably hand it off to Sean since it is football related, but I should be getting those college football numbers soon. Yeah. There were some initial reporting by a lot of outlets, and this isn't taking shots on anybody. We could have been in the same boat. I do think there was some confusion initially about the numbers that were coming out as being what schools made after just 1 year.
Exactly.
This was a 2-year kind of window of royalties that I think there was some confusion about some of that. So UNM's trying to get the numbers exactly right about what they made each year before they give it to us, and I'm fine with that. I wasn't pushing them on it. But Ryan Berryman and I have talked about that, and hopefully those numbers will be coming maybe even in the next week.
And thank you to Grammer for making that up, bro.
Ryan Berryman, by the way, is at Mountain West Media Days.
He was working among the media. He was sitting with his laptop, on his lap, and he was working among the media. It was a
33-year-old AD, the rookie in the room, apparently doesn't even get to go hang out with the other ADs because he was there just slumming it with the media.
No, I will say Jim Center was hanging out in there for a good long while too. I believe, oh my gosh, Larson, the North Dakota Matt Larson.
Yeah, let's call him Matt.
AD.
For this show, yeah.
I might be getting that name wrong. I think
no, not for this show. This show is that's right for this episode.
He wasn't the only AD. Jason Eck made a surprise appearance as well, even though he's not obligated to his media obligations until tomorrow. So
I do think it's pretty cool that Ryan Berryman, who I spoke with last night on the phone, and I asked him if he was already in Vegas. He told me no. He told me he was planning to wake up at 4 a.m. this morning, fly out on the 6 a.m. flight to Vegas this morning. Do all his obligations there because they are doing some stuff that he needs to be a part of. And then he is flying back tonight. And I'm like, dude, you're the boss now, man. You don't have to do that. You can stay the night. And he just essentially is kind of tired of Vegas. If you remember the way the Mountain West basketball tournament went last year, and he was still in this weird interim phase, he went out there like on a Friday for women's basketball, stayed till the following, I think, Saturday through all the AD meetings and all that.
Argentina. 2-1.
All right. Any no Messi yet?
It was a Messi assist header.
Okay. Yeah, things are getting messy in the World Cup. Gonna make that work.
You were dying to say. You were just dying. Adam Lopez, good to hear from you.
Adam is asking something. We did cover a little bit of this, the Group of Five promotion to P4 and how the College Sports Act goes with all that. We don't know for sure. My thoughts on it are I don't know.
My thoughts on the College Sports Act is that in the Sorsby situation, really, Brennan Sorsby, of course, former Texas Tech quarterback, never played a game. I thought it magnified this. I think the cries among administrators and coaches and yada, yada, people in college sports, Congress, please do something. I think a lot of these problems would be solved if they had a CBA. I think the CBA would fix a lot of these problems, but I don't think they want to look down that quite yet. And I have very mixed feelings about the Protect College Sports Act, and I don't have a lot of confidence that it'll actually go through. So, Sean,
you going to go to the lobster buffet at the Palms or what?
So I did eye that. I think it's a little bit out of the sports budget, the sports stipend budget. I think it's a little bit, not saying we're broke or anything like that.
This show may not be the one to do it because we got to wrap up here in about 5 minutes, guys. But
I will say I love lobster. I did.
There will be a future show topic discussion on road food. and
my
we
God.
will
Wow.
rediscuss, which it has made an appearance at the Isotopes game. But we have some stuff to discuss about my road eating. It's not even a habit, man. It's not like I do it all the time. I
But the
did
fact
one
that you've
unique
done it
thing, though.
multiple times,
I
we'll
have
get
done it
into it
more than
later.
once.
I had a place called the Palms has got some pretty decent food options. I had a place called Send Noodles. Get it? Haha. And I got Vietnamese beef noodles last night, and they were quite good, and it was a good price, frankly, for a casino meal.
Was this pre or post gaming floor action for you?
This was pre, and then I played roulette for
Go ahead.
20 minutes, and then I made $30. It was nice. Yeah,
he's a baller. Fun fact: the Palms is now owned by a Native American tribe. I did not know that.
Did not know that. Yeah,
which is interesting because the casino landscape across the country, and the Vegas landscape, had some butting of heads there for a while as Native American tribes were there was a booming casino business for a long time around or outside of the Las Vegas area, primarily from tribal entities, and that is interesting. I did not know the Palms is now owned by a Native American tribe. Adam Lopez in again. What milestones are you setting on the football team this year? And for Sean,
you have to try something, try anything.
Yeah.
What could we do? Cool. What could we make you do? Like skydiving? Do you not like heights? What could we make you do?
I don't know. We'll come up with something.
Okay.
The challenge has been made. We'll come up with some good stuff. Richie's in again. I'm a Spinosaurus connoisseur man myself. Wow, all kinds of big
man of taste.
Wow, Richie into the Spinosaurus. I'll ask my 6-year-old what she thinks about that. Is Wisconsin to Eck like Alabama to Olin?
I don't. You would have to comment on the Alabama to Olin thing. I don't cover Olin as closely as you do. I don't know if like that's like a thing with him. Like, oh, he'd love to go back to Bama. I mean, like, I don't know. But I think Wisconsin. I think Eck has a very real and legitimate connection with the University of Wisconsin at Madison, and he has referenced his time there, being playing under Barry Alvarez quite frequently.
Meeting Kimberly there.
Meeting Kimberly there, of course. So that is a place that is, he said that, he grew up moving a lot because his dad was coaching all that. He considers kind of Madison and, like Chicagoland, kind of like his home. So
there are some similarities in that both husband and wife are from the area, Alabama. Same with Olin, and they've been together a long time and have known each other since college in Alabama, not at Alabama, but in Alabama, and since the college days. Same for the ex. Kimberly Eck told the funny story about meeting Jason Eck while he was this was after his playing days, but he was a bouncer at a bar, and she told him the night she met him, he was chewing gum as a bouncer at a bar. And the way he was chewing gum, she said, "You chew gum like a coach." And that was before he was ever a coach. And she remembers to this day telling him that you chew gum like a coach. So, all right, Sean, that's it on the questions. I appreciate all you guys for doing these questions and sending us stuff in. We will be doing this on a much more regular basis moving forward. Sean, let's wrap it up. Put a bow, my favorite term, put a bow on this. Let's land the plane.
Land the plane. Close the book.
From Vegas, what's on tap for the rest of the day? I imagine just riding for you. And then tomorrow, what's on tap for the final day of the Mountain West Media Football Day?
Pretty much just writing for me. I will be getting down and talking to some people from Northern Illinois and Wyoming, of course. Just kind of covering the bases there a bit, but pretty much just writing. I'll have some. We already have 2 stories up on the website, one of which will be updated much further, and then I'll have another notebook kind of coming out. Tomorrow is kind of a big day in a lot of respects. Definitely going to spend a lot of time with Jason Eck. I think really I am anticipating. I mean, except for Mullen, who has always drawn a huge crowd in Vegas. One, because there's a lot of local media here that want to talk to him and do all that.
I will not sidebar this with other than my quick comment about the Vegas Media Day every year. To have so much Vegas media go just to show up to talk to the Vegas coaches blows my mind because they can talk to those coaches anytime. They wait till Media Day and they all come out of the woodwork to talk to them and monopolize Media Days, UNLV part of the Media Days by just showing up when they're in the same town as them. But anyway, go ahead.
It is a little, and it was pretty aggressive today with the UNLV players. Not as bad as the crowd that Mullen drew was unbelievable last year, and I'm expecting something similar too. But I think Eck is going to draw a much bigger crowd than last year, frankly. I think he's certainly made a name for himself. I'm very interested to see what he says in a couple things, but no, we'll have a lot of content. I will be writing about some other programs out of this as well too. I will have a story on UTEP in the next week or so, and I talked to Jaden Wilson, who's a former UNM linebacker. He's an El Paso native, ended up transferring back to UTEP, and he's a guy that feels that New Mexico UTEP could be a good rivalry. The tram is as adventurous as I get. Oh, the tram's cool. Tram's have you done the tram? You have to have done the tram.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have.
Cool.
It's been a while, but yeah.
Neat. But yeah, we will have. I'll have a lot of content. It's not all going to be. I think in previous years we've really hit it and done like 4 stories, like a day during media days. There's going to be a lot of stuff that a lot of our reporting that we're going to be saving for the weeks until spring ball. The start of spring ball is August 5th. I think I put
That's
that
part of what media day is all about.
Yeah. Exactly. So a lot of good stuff coming. Covering a lot of different bases and all that as well. But definitely have a lot more updates from what X says tomorrow, and what kind of the general sentiment is that.
Look for obviously coverage the next couple days on football from Sean on media day, but obviously the next few weeks too. And football gets started here pretty soon, with official camp starting up here in August and all that good stuff. I will tell you too that this show will start being pretty regular. I think we'll go ahead and count on trying to do a show next week as well. And we're back, guys. And Sean, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching, keeping us updated on the soccer match.
It's about to be over. I don't think there was a big injury, but poor England. It's not coming home.
It's not coming home.
Not coming home. Man.
Messy. Things are going to get messy in that championship.
That's so bad. So bad, dude. That is awesome. Brutal. Brutal, dude. All right.
I got to go find a column for this coming week, by the way. The one I was planning on doing isn't going to work this week. It might work next week, but I got to go find a column with my new front page column gig.
I can't believe I do a live show with a weekly A1 columnist.
Yeah, I got to actually.
Things have changed since the last time we were doing these regularly.
Yeah, I should probably put that in the show title. Sean, thanks for being here.
Grammer.
ABQJournal.com. Follow all of Sean's coverage. And thanks for being here, guys. Long.